Here's the most practical application of that Harvard study that we've been discussing in previous videos. For fitness over or after 50. Getting stronger is not primarily an act of self-preservation. Um, it's an act of love. It's the choice to be physically present and capable for people who matter most, in your life. To be the grandparent who gets on the floor with their grandchild, can pick them up off the floor, to be the partner that can still travel, to be the friend that shows up and helps maybe a friend move. The person you are at 75 that your relationships deserve. This reframe is not, sentimental. It's motivationally strategic. And research on motivation consistently shows that behaviors driven by positive goal approach, positive goal approach, moving towards something genuinely desirable produce sustained effort and lower rates of burnout than behaviors driven by threat avoidance. The exercise affect adherence pathway is relevant here, okay? Research shows that emotional response associated with exercise directly predicts future exercise behavior. And it makes sense, right? You always hear, the best prediction of future behavior is past behavior, right? And that is true. Um, so it's not the calorie count, it's not the performance metric. Um, it's how it's felt. When exercise consistently associated with positive emotion, the brain learns to anticipate that emotion before you even begin. And that produces, which we know, is the anticipatory dopamine that makes your ability to show up easier. The habit becomes self-reinforcing. And when exercise is consistently associated with shame and obligation, the opposite happens, right? And we've discussed that in other videos, right? So, how does, the UCAN system, which we've laid out, help here? Well, it was designed specifically in response to this research. And it basically has intrinsic motivation as its foundation. Each pillar addresses one of those, the three psychological needs. Pillar U, unapologetically forgiven, protects the autonomy need by breaking the shame spiral and makes people, that shame spiral makes people withdraw from their own health, and self-criticism. That self-compassion after a setback is not about lowering standards. It's about maintaining positive emotional connection to fitness. And that's what intrinsic motivation requires. Pillar C, consistent, builds the competence needed through several tools, a 2-day rule, the minimum effective dose, environmental design. Every session that you complete is evidence of capability. And then the accumulation of evidence becomes the foundation of the competence need. And then, so there is research on older adults consistently, shows competence is a strong predictor of sustained exercise, after some structured program ends. Pillar A aligned, the tools here, right? The 60-second gratitude activation before training, right? Connects the act of training to a meaningful relationship in your life. As I said, could be a spouse, could be a friend, could be grandchildren, but make that connection before you go and do your exercise routine. It shifts that emotional state away from the threat avoidance approach to motivation. And it satisfied all three needs simultaneously in 60 seconds. Pillar N, never give up, right? Create self-relatedness through an identity statement and a vision letter. Those are those tools. And that vision letter is a warm, forward-looking relationship with yourself, your future self, that functions um, motivationally in the same way that the Harvard studies, meaningful external relationships to your future self. So all these are within the UCAN system. If if you drop a UCAN in the comments, I'll send you our issue 1 of Getting Older and Stronger newsletter, which lays out this framework um, in a newsletter format, so you don't have to keep replaying the video. So drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. There'll be more coming on research to help us getting, as we age and get older, we'll get stronger.